Yes. Hare Krishna to everyone. So, how many of you received this worksheet beforehand on your WhatsApp group or somewhere? How many of you got it? It was sent to you. Okay. I hope all of you have also gone through the first four, because that will be the part of our discussion today. So, I hope all of you have seen the first four sections. So, uh, did you all go through that? The first four, you have read it? It's not very difficult, but the questions are very good. So we'll have it in form of I'll see who gives the best answers, and I'll also mark some names.
Sir, you are mute.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Is the screen visible? The screen the screen
No,
is not
sir.
visible.
No, sir.
Okay.
You are now not the host, sir. So you need to be mute.
Yeah, can Kaushik, can you make me the host?
Yes, sir, I meant.
Yeah, just a minute. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today the topic which we'll be discussing is, can faith be reasonable? Okay. So before I begin today's topic, let us discuss for five 5 minutes on the topic of faith. Many a times it is the common understanding, of people that spirituality talks about faith in existence of higher power, faith in God, faith in Krishna. So spirituality talks about faith, and science is about reason. Science talks about reason, or science gives proofs. So this is the general understanding that if you want to pursue spirituality, then you need faith. But a student of science, he if he wants to pursue science, then he doesn't need to have faith. But I want to show you all through few very simple daily life examples that how faith is a uh, is an unavoidable and indispensable part of our lives. All through our life we have been putting faith, but we will also see whether that faith has got some basis, some logic, or is it blind. Now, I'll ask all of you few questions. You all can use the chat box to answer quickly. Okay. So, okay. How many of you have gone to? Okay, the voice is not audible. Just a minute.
Audible, sir.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
You are
Audible.
audible,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. How many of you have gone to a doctor? Ever in your life, how many of you have gone to a doctor? Okay, every one of us, right? Every one of us have practically gone. Now tell me quickly, going to a doctor and giving our hand, some of us might have got operated sometimes, some of us might have been taken to operation theater, anesthesia, or every one of us would have taken some medicine or other. So how many of you can tell me that the medicine which you took or the injection which you took, you practically didn't have much idea of what the medicine contains, what the injection contains? Yes, nobody of us have. In fact, when the doctor writes a prescription, we simply blindedly we take the prescription, go to the compounder and simply give it and get all the medicines, and we take that medicine right in our mouth with a, like with some water or something, and have faith that I'll get cured out of this medicine. So how many of you agree that yes, there is an element of faith, and not just an element but a lot of faith involved in going to a doctor and taking the prescribed medicines which he has given? Yes, all of you agree that yes, there is faith in doctors. Okay, how many of you have heard of news that like sometimes some doctor has not treated properly, or he was not a bona fide doctor, proper doctor, and he gave wrong medicines or wrong treatment, or this doctor was because of him some patients died in his this thing? It's very much possible, right? Heard so many times, and so many places cheating happens on the name of medicine, doctors, and all this. My question to all of you is that when we go to a doctor, do we go to the doctor with blind faith or with a reasonable faith? How can you say that the faith which we put on a doctor is reasonable? On what basis, on what logic do we approach a particular doctor? Yes, okay, it is a reasonable faith. So Sridharan says blind faith. If it is blind faith, it is very, very dangerous, isn't it? Okay, very good. By his recognition. Ayush says by his recognition. Okay, Devarshi says on his have ever asked your doctor that, sir, can you show me your education certificates, whether you have really done yes, uh, we hardly do that. But we know that if the doctor has put up a clinic, and the clinic is authorized by the government, he has all the, if the hospital is running properly, the government is seeing through it, and he has his degree. So blind faith is what we call when we don't have a particular basis or a reason for putting faith. Just imagine, so I'll give you two examples. uh, suppose suppose you go to a person uh, who is having a shop, who is running a small shop, and you go to him and ask him that, sir, I have so and so disease in my body, can you please cure me? And he gives some medicines, and you go and take those medicines. Is this blind faith or reasonable faith? If you go to any person, so blind faith is like asking medicines from a stranger, exactly. And reasonable faith is when you go to a doctor, a bona fide doctor in a hospital, who has studied doctorate, MBBS, MD, who's treating. There are patients who are being cured year after year. We know he's a famous person who is curing people. So that is called reasonable faith. Yes, one thing is for sure, that faith is must. I'm not saying that approaching a doctor doesn't require faith. Faith is must. because without basic element of faith, humans cannot exist. We cannot coexist. We are interdependent species. I'll give you some more examples. Okay, so uh, हम लोग सब we all go to some barber to get our hair cut, right? So when we go to a barber to get our hair cut, he uses those kind of sharp elements like scissors and knife and so many these kind of things. So isn't putting our head in front of barber like this, जैसे बलि का बकरा ऐसे रखता है ना, so putting our head in front of a barber like this, that doesn't involve faith? Doesn't that involve faith? Because he's having sharp objects, he can actually do something with that. But we put faith because we know that he's earning his livelihood through that. So what I essentially mean to say, even you go to a barber shop, you go to a doctor, I can give you more examples. How many of you have ever uh, ever have sent the toothpaste and all these kind of elements for laboratory test? You might be using Colgate or Patanjali or Pepsodent or Close Up or whatever your thing would be. Okay, so all of us, we simply put it right in our mouth, but isn't it that we are involving a lot of faith for to just put something in our mouth without even knowing what is exactly there? We simply put faith on what is written there on the ingredients, right? We put faith, actually we put faith. And many a times this faith is what is capitalized by the advertisement industry, because they will use the most famous Bollywood and cricket stars to uh, like uh, to to advertise their products. Yes, to advertise their products. And that's why we put more faith. But there are still, it is a reasonable faith, because there are some organizations which are meant to certify them, like FISI or ISO certified, and all these kind of things will be there. Okay, going to school involves a lot of faith. Sitting in a bus involves a lot of faith. We don't know where the person is. In fact, I would say more than sitting in a bus, sitting in a train involves much more faith, because uh, bus, we can talk to the driver, talk to the conductor, and or a lot of people can go and simply hold, like take out the driver from his seat and beat him or do something if he does something wrong. But what about train? We cannot do anything. He can take us to anywhere. And recently I just went to Tirupati. Just my friend's marriage was there, so I returned yesterday itself. So flight, sitting in a flight involves a lot of faith. How many of you agree that in a flight or in an aeroplane, you really need lot of faith, especially when the landing is happening, takeoff is happening? You are putting a great amount of faith. In fact, your life is at stake in one sense, because you really don't know. uh, yes, exactly, Himanshu. 101%, a lot of faith. So what we are seeing through all these examples, in fact, eating food every day, that also involves faith. Your mother is giving you food, you simply have faith that your mother has cooked it properly, nothing has fallen into it, and your mother is cooking it with great love, that's why you are eating. More than eating food cooked by mother, eating in a mess is a lot of faith, right? Because in mess, you know that those people are not loving you, they're simply doing it for money. We don't know what is. So I would not call it blind faith on mother. So actually a small child, without putting faith on his parents, he can never ever grow in his life. Because how many of you ever asked your mother in your childhood before you drank her milk that, mama, is the milk tested in laboratory? Is it safe? Today we may question, is it safe or not? But when we opened our eyes and we came to this world, from day one we have been living and surviving and growing because of faith. So faith is a must. But what we are talking is not about blind faith. Blind faith is something which is unexpected, which is not to be applied. And what is required in life is a reasonable faith. A reasonable faith is something which has a proper solid logic and reason, and the reason is proper, and that's why we are putting that faith. So let us now move into our discussion, and let us see. Uh, so, how many of you have read this part of? Yeah, the first section. Okay, why is our faith in Supreme God reasonable? Okay, let me read it quickly because some of you might not have read it. So I'll read it quickly and you all can hear. Okay. In the material concept of life, from a top executive manager to a coolie in the street, everyone is busy in asking, where is my job and food? Where is my accommodation? Where is my partner? How can I compete and survive? How can I increase my comforts, prolong and enjoy life? Dharma starts when a human inquires about how can one put a full stop to all sufferings by asking about the supreme cause of all causes and inquire on the purpose of the creation. Now let us consider the hypothetical case of an aboriginal man landing in New York City. On first examining the huge complex metropolis, the aboriginal man will naturally marvel at how it has come to be, but he will hardly be able to answer this question through direct sensory perception. He may well believe that such a place has always been there, like some mountain range, or he may simply become bewildered. On the other hand, a European man landing in New York on the first visit will have no difficulty in understanding that the city was constructed over several hundred years by countless architects and craftsmen. Although our cultured visitor did not see the city being constructed and has not met any of the architects or craftsmen involved, no one will be able to convince him that the city has come about in any other way. His belief will be entirely reasonable, but he will have to admit that, strictly speaking, it is a type of faith, a built an entirely reasonable faith. The conclusion of aborigine man, however, must be termed unreasonable faith. We may be safe in having reasonable faiths, such as the faith that New York City has been built by intelligent craftsmen, but we must be wary of unreasonable faiths or faiths based only on superstition. Someone has unmuted the mic. Yeah. Now let us suppose further that upon landing at John F. Kennedy Airport, our European meets a wild-eyed man who hands him a book propounding the doctrine that New York City was not constructed in any of the aforementioned ways. Rather, some 100 years ago, there was an explosion in the Hudson Bay region, and after the smoke cleared, the entire city, complete with skyscrapers, subways, and telephone systems, was standing in place. Although by direct sensory perception, the European will not be able to prove this doctrine false, since he has not personally observed the construction of the city, nonetheless, he will conclude that the young wild-eyed man is a nut. Now, from scientific observation, we learn that the physical structure of a living cell is more complex than that of the entire city of New York, complete with telephone lines, electrical circuits, and plumbing, etc. And thus, and that the human body has more than 30 trillion of these cells. Furthermore, the human body works smoothly and with amazing precision. Even more amazing, these complex cells have the ability to regenerate themselves, a concept that cities planning commissions could not even begin to conceive of. Now, if we were to conclude that the human body has also been planned and constructed by some highly intelligent persons, then it is called reasonable faith. But the atheistic theory that the human body and the universe we live in arose from a chance by some tremendous explosion these people can only be compared to the wild-eyed fanatic claiming that New York City came from an explosion in Hudson Bay. It is nothing short of insanity. Since we can have reasonable faith that this universe and its contents, including ourselves, are the creation of an eminently intelligent, powerful, and expert supreme being. So basically, here three people are being talked about. One is the Aboriginal man, one is the European man, and one is the wild-eyed man, right? Wild-eyed man. So then we have a small quiz here about the wild-eyed man, European man, and Aboriginal man. And the, so it's a small matrix matching, but I think it's multi-correct. So each of the five options may have multiple answers. So I would say, how many of you have already solved it, or do you need 2 minutes to solve it? Just tell me quickly in the chat box. It will not take much time. It just tell me you need 3 minutes to solve it, then I'll give that much time. Okay, fine. Okay, let us do one thing. You all can take quickly 2 to 3 minutes and quickly solve this, and then I'll ask in a form of quiz. Okay. I think all of you also would be having these sheets, or I have displayed here on the screen. You can use any of those, but try to solve it very quickly. Yeah, I would request all of you to send answers. Send me answers privately, uh, instead of writing in public, because others will also, you can ask them also to solve. Yeah, I hope it is done. Can we begin our discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, I have started to get few answers from all of you. Okay. Okay, great. I hope most of you would have solved by now. Fine, let us discuss it. So okay, the first one is wild-eyed man. Okay. What is the answer for the first one? So wild-eyed man must be a nut due to his unreasonable faith in. So A, okay, A is the answer. And what else? A and H. A, H. Okay. So can you all tell me whether E will be answer for a wild-eyed man? Whether E will also be answer for this?
Yes, sir.
No.
No. Oh, because see, uh, a wild-eyed man had unreasonable faith because he had a basis, and the basis was Hudson Bay explosion. But the problem was that that basis is not proper. Unreasonable means it has a basis, but the basis itself is wrong. And reasonable means a correct basis. And blind means practically no basis. So we can say Aborigine man had blind faith due to naive conclusions, right? Okay. What about European man? What will be the answer for European man? I think European man is B, G, and I, right? Thought that city must have been constructed by architects, has reasonable faith even without direct perception, and did not see city being constructed. Exactly. Exactly. How many of you got this one correct? B, G, and I?
Yes, sir.
You all got that correct? Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And what about, sorry, what about the third one? Aborigine man is Aborigine man? What will be the answer for third one? Aboriginal man?
D and E.
D.
Yes, D and E. D and E. Perfect. Perfect. D and E. D and E is the correct answer. Okay. And cells in human body?
E.
Ce-
C.
Cells in
C.
human body
C.
compared to New York City. Okay. And what is dharma?
F.
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 F. Okay. So all of you got these correct. I think 4 and 5 are very simple, and you might have got little confused in wild-eyed man. Okay. So let me see in the chat box. Okay, so many of you are giving the right answers. Yeah, F, fine. We'll go to the next one. Yes. What is knowledge? So according to scriptures, knowledge means MSc, knowledge of matter, spirit, and controller of both. So let me first read it for all of you, and then all of you can quickly answer the questions. Is this universe a place for collision of dead atoms and molecules with no higher meaning? Are our mother, father, and friends whom we love nothing more than a chemical bundle? Is exchange of love nothing more than some secretion of chemicals in our body? The answer is yes, if we see only from a mechanistic worldview, considering only matter. Once a scientist who never knew what a gulab jamun is was asked to explain about it. He said, a gulab jamun is a spherical ball in shape, golden brown in color, soft and porous and juicy, with a crispy cover and softer core, diameter of 2 inches, floating in a liquid of viscosity this much, etc. You would never understand what a gulab jamun is unless you pop one into your mouth and taste it for yourself. Similarly, love, joy, integrity, honesty, humility, shyness, courage, tolerance, enthusiasm, patience, etc. Many more similar qualities are exhibited by living bodies due to presence of Atma or spirit engaged in the material body. Thus, material body is made up of matter and Atma is spirit. And both matter and spirit are controlled by God, who is the supreme spirit. A computer can tell you about the exact color composition in a painting, but it can't tell if the painting is beautiful or not. Aesthetics, like subjective conscious experience, is beyond the reach of science. Thomas Huxley rightly said, there is a third thing in the universe to wit, consciousness, which I can't see to be matter or force. Since scientists resort to mechanistic worldview, they find the subject of consciousness like an unsolvable riddle. Max Planck said, science can't solve the ultimate mystery in nature because in the last analysis, we ourselves are the part of mystery we are trying to solve. The world is not just made up of matter. We can see that there is matter, spirit, and controller of both, Ishvara or God. When we switch on when we switch on or switch off an electric bulb, the light gets on and off, and hence we think I am the controller of the electric bulb. Yes, it is partially true. Yes, we are minute controllers with limited freedom. When there is a power cut from electricity board and when we switch on the button, light will not glow. In a similar manner, we are tiny controllers and God is the supreme controller of everyone and everything. Thus, a true MSC is one who knows matter, spirit, and controller of both, not one who knows only matter alone. Okay. So now it's a very simple uh, paragraph about what is matter, what is MSC, what is knowledge. So Krishna says in the Gita very beautifully, he says about what is matter, and he is the source of matter. He says it is his external energy. Bhumirapo nalo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankar iti yamme bhinna prakritirashtadha. So Krishna says that earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. Even mind, intelligence, ego is matter, but it is subtle matter. So these 8 Krishna classifies them into matter, his external energy. And then he says that there is spirit. Aparayam itastva anyam prakritim vidhi me param. Beyond these 8 elements, there is apara prakriti, which is the aparayam itastu anyam. There is para prakriti, which is his jivas, living entities. And then he is the controller of both because both the energies are his energies. Okay, so let us now start to solve these. Okay, Thomas Huxley's statement. What does Thomas Huxley's statement prove? Does it prove the presence of soul, a non-material entity in this universe? Or does it prove that the third thing in the universe is spirit, which has arisen from matter? Proves that matter and force gives rise to consciousness? Proves that there is a third thing in the universe beyond matter and force? Okay, what is the answer for this? D. D. Okay, very good. Why is B not the correct answer? Can someone tell why B is not the correct answer?
Arisen from matter.
Yeah, because it has not arisen from matter. A is not correct because it doesn't prove the presence of soul. Okay, a non-material entity doesn't prove the presence of that. It only says there is a third thing in the universe. Okay, good. So let us go to the next question. Okay, this question is interesting because it is find the odd man out. You have to tell which one is the odd man out of this. A camera can click the picture of a beauty queen or a poor beggar, but not comment about her beauty or feel compassion in heart for the beggar, like a boy can do. Similarly, okay, what will be the answer for this?
ABC.
No, it is the odd one out, right?
E.
So,
So sorry, sir. D.
so the answer should be D. Okay, let us see this.
E.
Let us see this. Okay, a machine can estimate the sound in decibels, but not tell you the sweetness of a raga. Okay, this is true because sound in decibels can be told by a machine, but sweetness of raga can only be told by a person. A scientist can describe shape, size, quantity of sugar, etc., but about a gulab jamun, but not how sweet and pleasurable it is without tasting it. Exactly. A device can measure the temperature of AC room, but can never tell you the joy of being in an AC room. Exactly. Okay. Then why is D the answer? A photosensor can exactly tell you the color of light observed and give you a printout, but not tell you the intensity of light bulb. We are doing the second one. Let us stick to the second one. So the why is D the answer? Correct answer is D. I agree. But why is D? Can anyone tell why D is the correct answer?
Because intensity is a material science thing.
Exactly. Because he is writing photosensor can tell you the color of light, but cannot tell you intensity. But intensity can be told by some other equipment can tell you about intensity, right? So because one thing should be told by machine and another should not be able to be told by any other machine. So that's why D is the answer. Okay. Third one is quite easy. What is the answer for third one? Who is MSc? Who does Master of Science? No, who knows matter, spirit, and controller of both. Okay, great, great. Now, fourth is a very, very tricky one. So I want all of you to take a minute and solve the fourth one very carefully. Solve the fourth one very carefully. The fourth question is, give an example to show how we are tiny controller and God is supreme controller. How we are tiny controller and God is supreme controller. Okay, let me see so many answers I'm getting. Okay, what is the correct answer? A. A. Okay, okay. Some of you might have written B also in this. So let me ask all of you quickly. Okay, let us leave A first. Let us leave A first because most of us are telling A. So let us see how others are not the correct answers. Okay. Light bulb, I'm reading the B option. Light bulb turns on and off by a switch, proving that God also turns sun on and off every day. This is not the explanation of the question, right? That we are tiny controller and God is supreme controller. That is not correct. Okay. Light bulb
Sun
is,
on or off.
yes, yes.
सर सन ऑन और ऑफ नहीं होता है, पृथ्वी घूमता है.
Okay, okay, fine. That's all right. Basically, what it means to say is sunrise and sunset, something similar. Okay. Light bulb is switched on and off by us. Similarly, God controls our karma and destroys it. Can anyone say why C is not the correct answer? Who can tell me why C is not the correct answer?
गॉड हमारे कर्म को कंट्रोल या डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं करते.
Shantanu, it's all right. If you have something urgent, then can proceed. Yeah.
सर हम सारे डिसीजन खुद ही लेते हैं.
Okay. Controls our karma and destroys it. Now, suppose God can control, but see, the point is, we are tiny controller and God is supreme controller. How do we prove it? We prove it by saying that we can control something, and God can control that also, and can control much beyond that also. Something like that. So here something is being talked about light bulb, and then something else is being talked about karma. But if you see the A option, in the A option it is mentioned light bulb turns on and off by our switching. Yes, but when there is no power cut, if there is no power cut, if there is power cut, if the power gets off, then our switching on and off has no consequence on the light bulb. So it means that someone else is a supreme controller who is able to control beyond my control. Exactly. C is not supporting the question. Yeah, fine.
और सर सी में सर
Yes,
लिखा गॉड कंट्रोल्स अवर कर्मा. इसमें
yes.
सर हम लोगों के पास कर्म करने का मतलब सर राइट तो है, लेकिन रिजल्ट सर गॉड गॉड पे है सर.
correct, but God,
वैसे कर सकते
yes, but God controls our karma and destroys it. So that is not proving how God is a supreme controller. And see, basically C में क्या लिखा है? C में लाइट बल्ब के बारे में लिखा है कि हम कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं और गॉड कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं कर्मा, बट ये नहीं लिखा है कि लाइट बल्ब जो हम कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं वो भी भगवान कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. But A is the correct answer, which talks about that beyond our control there is a supreme control of God. Okay. Okay, let us move to the third activity. This is the cosmic machine. It's a very interesting dialogue between Srila Prabhupada and one of I think scientists or devotees. So let me read it. This is a very simple one. The fourth one is little more complicated. This is a simple, you can easily solve this. Srila Prabhupada, scientists do not know that there are two types of energy, inferior and superior, although they are actually working with these two energies every day. Material energy cannot work independently. It must first come in contact with spiritual energy. So how can people accept that the entire cosmic manifestation, which is nothing but matter, has come about automatically? A competent machine does not work unless a man who knows how to work it pushes a button. A Cadillac is a nice car, but if it has no driver, what is the use of it? So the material universe is also a machine. People are amazed at seeing a big machine with many parts. But an intelligent person knows that however wonderful a machine may be, it does not work unless an operator comes and pushes the proper button. Therefore, who is more important, the operator or the machine? So we are concerned not with the material machine, this cosmic manifestation, but with its operator, Krishna. Now you may say, well, how do I know that he is the operator? Krishna says, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Under my direction, the whole cosmic manifestation is working. If you say, no, Krishna is not the operator behind the cosmos, then you have to accept another operator and you must present him. But this you cannot do. Therefore, in the absence of your proof, you should accept mine. So very beautifully, Srila Prabhupada is talking about how behind the cosmic machine there is supreme operator, which is Krishna. So you all can quickly answer these questions. I'll ask, and maybe one of you, some of you can write it also, and if anyone wants to unmute and speak, you can tell. Which energy cannot work independently? What will be the answer for this? Yes, material energy cannot work independently. So on whom is material energy dependent? Material energy to work, it is dependent on whom?
Spiritual energy.
Spiritual energy.
Yes.
Spiritual energy.
Okay. So give two examples to prove that there must be a great operator for this cosmic machine. Can you all give some examples which was given here?
Without a driver, car is
Useless.
nothing.
Okay, driver for Cadillac car. Very good, Ayush. Very good, Rahul. Yes. Any other example? Two examples, right?
Without
must
an
be-
operator, machine is useless.
Okay, without an operator also machine is useless. Okay, fine. Okay. Out of the two, who is more important?
Willpower, we cannot utilize our potential.
Without
Willpower, we cannot utilize our potential.
okay, here it is being talked about the examples which are mentioned here. These two are very good examples. See, when we are talking about willpower, we cannot use our potential. Yeah. So, but if you can give a more material example, like जहाँ matter को चाहिए एक, like it is talking about our spirit's potential cannot be utilized without spirit's willpower. But here the example is about matter cannot work until and unless it has got touch from a superior nature, which is spirit. Okay. Out of the two, who is more important? Machine or the operator?
Operator.
Operator.
Operator. And what can we infer from this machine operator analogy? What can we infer?
Machine is the universe and the operator is the Lord Krishna.
Okay, very good, very good. And without operator, machine cannot work like that. Without Krishna, this universe cannot function. Okay. Okay, this is an interesting question. I'll see what all of you will have to say. You all can have different answers for this question. Okay. When you ask about how sun is going on giving out heat and light for so many long years, some scientists say that it is due to nuclear fusion that has brought about chain reaction leading to non-stop generation of heat and light. Such people feel there is no need for God to start and keep such a mechanism going. What would you say about it? So who would like to answer first? That okay, if you ask how the sun is going on giving heat and light, then a scientist may say it is because of nuclear fusion.
तो फिर सर वहाँ पे सर हाइड्रोजन के आइसोटोप कौन लाया?
Okay, very good. Like, can you tell your name also?
सर अक्षत.
Akshat, very good. So beautifully said that वहाँ पर हाइड्रोजन का आइसोटोप मतलब basically he is talking about the initial ingredients कहाँ से आ रहे हैं.
Yes sir.
मान लेते हैं कि स्टार्ट हुआ रिएक्शन चल रहा है, लेकिन वो रिएक्शन कराने के लिए भी कोई इनिशियल रिएक्टेंट्स चाहिए हमें. करेक्ट? ओके. एनीवन एल्स, एनी अदर थिंग? दिस अबाउट रिएक्शन रिएक्टेंट्स.
सर वो कंडीशन जिसमें ये रिएक्शन हो रहा है,
ओके,
वो भी कंडीशन
बहुत
जो है मैनेज किया गया.
यस, एग्जैक्टली,
प्रॉपर तरीके से.
एग्जैक्टली. सो देयर इज पीवीटी कंडीशंस, राइट? प्रेशर, वॉल्यूम, टेम्परेचर, वो सब कंडीशंस रिक्वायर्ड रहते कोई भी रिएक्शन के लिए. जैसे अगर लैबोरेटरी में भी कोई रिएक्शन करना है तो there is a person who is required to do that reaction, right? ऐसा नहीं होता है कि भाई लैबोरेटरी में खुद ब खुद रिएक्शंस हो रहे हैं. और अगर ऑटोमेटिकली ऑटोमेटेड रिएक्शंस भी अगर हो रहे हैं तो उसको किसी ने ऑटोमेट किया होगा उस प्रोसेस को, राइट? ओके. न्यूक्लियर फ्यूजन में और क्या रिक्वायर्ड होता है, किसी को आइडिया है?
बहुत हाई टेम्परेचर होता है सर.
ओके, ओके,
High amount of energy.
exactly. How is it running and controlled in a constant manner? Do you know that any nuclear reactor, there are controlling rods which are used? तो अगर यहाँ पर इस सन जैसा एक बहुत बड़ा सा न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर में काम हो रहा है, तो यहाँ कंट्रोल रॉड्स कहाँ है, किसके हाथ में है, कैसे मैनेज हो रहा है?
सर इट इज कॉल्ड मॉडरेटर.
Yes, moderator. Okay, exactly. Like that. So many things can be asked, right? Very good. So what is the essential point being emphasized under discussion of the above topic, cosmic machine? So what is the essential point being emphasized under the discussion of cosmic machine? I think here it was mentioned that how without an intelligent person behind a machine, the operator, the machine cannot work. At least a person to press a button is required. Then what to speak of this very complicated cosmic machine? This cosmic machine needs an operator who is Krishna. Okay. See, let me tell you few very important things for all of us to know at this point. You see, we'll go to this screen share again. You see, when scientists do different experiments, see, we are not against science or scientists. We all are students of science. But a very important thing, what is condemned in our scriptures and condemned by our acharyas, is when atheism takes the garb of science and tries to remove God from the picture. Actually, science was initially meant to prove the beautiful creation of God and show the intelligent design and intelligence of God behind the nature. But slowly, science has now the atheistic science or atheistic scientists have taken a role of giving a material mechanism for every cause of the world. Everything in the world, they want to give a material mechanism by which they don't want to bring God in picture. Like the next exercise which we will be seeing is on how there is a remote cause, there is a ultimate cause, there is a immediate cause, remote cause, and ultimate cause. I'll give you a very simple example. Like recently I heard this. How many of you have seen वो एक बिलियर्ड्स टाइप का एक गेम आता है, बिलियर्ड्स कंप्यूटर, आई थिंक एक कंप्यूटर सॉफ्टवेयर गेम भी है, स्नूकर या बिलियर्ड्स उस टाइप का रहता है. एनी वन ऑफ यू हैव एवर played that on computer? Very simple, angle पे मारते हैं उसको, right? Like that. So now just imagine if I take a video of the billiards board, बिलियर्ड के बोर्ड का अगर मैं ऊपर से एक वीडियो निकाल रहा हूँ, बस बोर्ड का, if I only take off the board, then you may see that a small stick is coming and is pushing one of the balls, and the ball gets pushed and it goes and strikes, and it gets reflected from one of the sides and then goes to the next pocket and goes inside. By only looking at this much picture, we may think that the ball went into the pocket because of getting reflected from the side wall. That is correct. And it got reflected from the side wall because a stick came and pushed the ball in that direction. That is also correct. But these are only immediate and remote causes. But if I take the camera little more higher and give you the entire picture of the entire room, then whom are you going to see? You will be seeing that the billiards, that stick was being held by a person, and that person was moving the stick, and then the stick went and went. So when I talk about science wanting to give material explanations, what I mean to say is science giving the laws, science giving how the stick came and hit the billiard ball. But when science shuts its eyes to a higher dimensional reality and forgets that even to achieve that, even for the stick to move, you need a person who is able to observe that if it hits, he knows the rules, he knows the laws of reflection, and he knows that if he hits there, then the ball will go into the pocket. So this is what spirituality does. So if science can act as a subset of trying to see nature, understand nature, and explain nature in a way how God has actually created it, how he has made it, it can do wonders. And actually we don't have to confront science, but what we all have to understand is science can only talk about matter, and it cannot give us the higher level of reality and explanation beyond matter. So that is a very important, like, you see, sometimes on the name of science, such kind of experiments are sponsored, and such kind of things are done to completely remove or uproot the faith of spiritualists. Like, this how many of you have ever heard of test tube babies? आप लोग सबने सुना है टेस्ट ट्यूब बेबी?
Yes, sir.
जब मैं पहली बार सुना था टेस्ट ट्यूब बेबी, मुझे लगा बेबी जो है टेस्ट ट्यूब में पैदा होता है, तो मैं सोचने लगा कि टेस्ट ट्यूब में बेबी कैसे पैदा होता है. लाइक आई वाज रियली सरप्राइज्ड कि टेस्ट ट्यूब कैसे ग्रो करेगा, बेबी का साइज बड़ा होगा तो टेस्ट ट्यूब कैसे बड़ा होगा. बट डू यू ऑल नो दैट टेस्ट ट्यूब बेबी में क्या होता है? टेस्ट ट्यूब बेबी, अच्छा मैं आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस पूछता हूँ. जो सीमन है, the semen, from where is the semen taken out? Is it produced in the laboratory? Laboratory
No,
में
sir.
No.
yes, so laboratory में ना सीमन बनता है. So man और woman से जो essential substance है उसको निकाल के उसका जो mixing है, that happens in a test tube. But do you know that बहुत जल्दी ही, you cannot keep in a test tube for long time, because the right kind of environment for a child to grow can only be there where God has created, and that is mother's womb. So उसको तुरंत एक फीमेल के womb में उसको वापस डालना पड़ता है, and then the child actually grows there. एंड चाइल्ड ग्रोज एंड उसका डिलीवरी वहीं से होता है। ऐसा नहीं कि टेस्ट ट्यूब में 9 महीने का निकल के वो डिलीवर होता है, बट ऐसा नाम दिया गया है टेस्ट ट्यूब बेबी, एज इफ लेबोरेटरी में बेबी बना दे रहे हैं। आई विल गिव यू अनदर एग्जांपल। हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ आर्टिफिशियल रेन्स? डू यू नो अबाउट आर्टिफिशियल रेन्स? so artificial,
Artificial rain.
yeah, artificial
Rain.
rains. So artificial rain,
RAIN.
yeah, rains
बारिश.
RAIN, rains,
Yes.
barish.
Yes,
So
sir. वो
when this yeah when this artificial rain concept came, people thought that artificial rain मतलब भाई जैसे बारिश होता है वैसे बारिश हो जाएगा, and they actually spent millions and trillions of dollars to get this artificial rain thing. But do you know what they actually got through that? बहुत मेहनत से एक्चुअली वो क्या करते हैं, कुछ क्लाउड्स में एक पर्टिकुलर केमिकल को इंजेक्ट करते हैं, एक साइनाइड रहता है, उसको इंजेक्ट करते हैं, और सिल्वर साइनाइड या कुछ रहता है, या सिल्वर आयोडाइड, आई एग्जैक्टली डोंट रिमेम्बर द नेम ऑफ द केमिकल, बट समथिंग सिमिलर। तो उसको इंजेक्ट करेंगे और वहां से वो वो रेन का जो फॉर्मेशन होता है वो उसको कोशिश करते करवाने का, but when they did this, what they actually got was around 1 liter 2 liters of water, बिस्लरी वाटर के उतना बॉटल में पानी मिला, which by spending how much millions and billions of rupees they spent to get just that much. उसके बाद से artificial rain बोलना बहुत कम कर दिया। See, if artificial rain was such a powerful and great miracle, then ये drought और ये सब जब आता है तो artificial rain क्यों नहीं कर देते? Because artificial rain is not like natural rain कि ऐसे बारिश होगा। But the name, when you have like names like test tube baby, artificial rain, ऐसा लगता है कि natural process जो भगवान का creation है, that natural process has been like क्या कहते हैं उसको, copied or has been successfully produced in a laboratory. Like Srila Prabhupada would challenge the scientists that what to speak of creating life. Can you even create a small mosquito? Can science ever create a small mosquito in a laboratory? Can science create a simple life form in the laboratory? Can never do it. Now I want to ask all of you, why can't science do it? Science क्यों नहीं कभी life form बना सकता है? Yes, I'd like to hear from you all. Yeah, okay. Yes, because it's material. Okay, because science is material, तो life क्यों नहीं बना सकता?
Because it needs the constituent particles to work in harmony.
Okay, but yeah,
because it is needs spiritual energy which comes directly from Sri Krishna.
exactly, because science can never ever create soul. See, even जब ये टेस्ट ट्यूब बेबी और ये सब करना रहता है तो उसको सीमन जो है वो कहाँ से लेना पड़ता है? ह्यूमन बॉडी से लेना पड़ता है। Why does it take the semen from there? Because Krishna has placed living entities or souls in the semen particle of a male, and that is how through the semen particle the soul actually goes into the womb of a mother. So consciousness cannot be created in laboratory, and consciousness is an entire new dimension for science. It is beyond science. So science can neither prove nor disprove God's existence, because God is scientific. He is beyond science. Science के बाहर है, science के domain के बाहर. So we should not get bewildered by these so-called theories of science. Like, see, this Darwin's theory was so much 100 years before, when this Darwin's theory was so much becoming famous. But Darwin's theory cannot give any explanation of how life actually originated and how from one species to another species these evolutions are happening, and how different species with, and see, science can never give you the reason why. अच्छा, अगर ये स्पीसी को ये कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स मिला है तो क्यों मिला है? ओके, इट कैन से ये विंटर एरिया में रहता है ये, इसलिए इसको इस टाइप का फर कोटिंग मिला है, but why has it been placed in winter atmosphere? Because science can never understand beyond the वो बिलियर्ड का जो स्टिक है उसके बियॉन्ड नहीं जा सकता. Yes.
Sir,
Okay.
what about AI?
Yeah, very beautiful question. Who is asking this?
So Vedant.
Vedant. Yeah, I'll answer this. It's a very important thing. How much ever science advances. See, what is artificial intelligence? When you talk about artificial intelligence, you have to first and foremost recognize that you are trying to give a feel of having a machine having intelligence. Like देखो, like just like I'll give you a very simple example. Like आप अगर किसी के घर जाते हो तो घर घर के डोर में कभी कभी हैव यू नोटिस्ड in any one of your home like this is there कि there's a small opening through which you can actually see who is standing behind the door, right? You have that kind of छोटा सा रहता है, आप देख सकते हो कौन खड़ा है. And if the person is a known person or a wanted person, you are going to open the door. And if it is not a person whom you want, or he's an unknown stranger or someone who is not supposed to come inside, then you are going to keep the door closed. So this is you doing based on your observation and intelligence. Now you want your machines also to operate like that. Do you know nowadays mobiles and laptops have face recognition? Like if the mobile is in front of your face, then the lock opens because it recognizes that you are using it. Or when you put the fingerprint, like my laptop has this fingerprint detector. So by using this fingerprint detector, what it is doing, it is just seeing whether the right person is using it or not. But how has the machine been able to recognize who is the user, who is using it? Are you getting? How do they do that? They're simply using they have something called as training data. If you study in electronics or in computer science about neural networks and training data, so what they do is they train the machine by giving lot of data. Through statistics, they give information, and the machine is trained uh, uh, to work in such a manner that after training, when you put your fingerprint, someone else puts the fingerprint, then it will not open. It will detect that this is not matching with it. So all this is being done now. But a very important thing is that machine, how much ever intelligent it becomes, it may be able to recognize you. A robot can start talking to you, but it can only do to that extent to which you have programmed it. Through artificial intelligence, you can have cars being run without drivers. Yeah, cars being run without drivers, but cars being run on artificial intelligence which has been endowed by a human. Like through artificial intelligence, you can have a person playing chess with computer. So computer या laptop आपके साथ chess खेल रहा है. How does it know? But do you understand that the best of the chess players would have been used, their intelligence would have been used to code and program in such a manner that the interface is able to behave like a chess player. Yeah. So so today also, if you talk to the best of the robotics people, robotics experts and all these people, they will tell you even to completely imitate all the functions of a movement of a hand, it is next to impossible. There are so many degrees of movement in this, degrees of freedom and all that. So a simple one-dimensional movement itself takes a huge code, and what to speak of imitating the entire human body. It can be uh, never be humanly possible, because it has got great precision and great complexity. So people are trying, and to the degree they try, they will be able to accomplish, but still what they are doing is only a imitation human being. They have not created an actual human being. because that human, he may give output, that robot may give output, but it cannot have emotions, it cannot have feelings. Vedant, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, people may talk about artificial intelligence. So that is where we have to understand that these terminologies can sometimes bewilder us, and we may think that is it coming out is so God's existence can never be challenged, because the brain which through which the intelligence through which artificial intelligence is coming is also God's intelligence. So exactly. So let us quickly solve the last one, and then we will conclude for today. So the fifth one is little elaborate, which I'll take sometime else. So I've already talked about this billiards example, remote cause and immediate cause. This is a very simple one. Okay, let's go through this. Someone else wants to read? Someone else would like to read? Any one of
Yes,
you?
sir.
Yeah, Prince, go ahead.
Srila Prabhupada. Inferior energy has no power unless superior energy is involved. This sea, indicating the Pacific Ocean, is calm and quiet. But when the superior force, air, pushes it, it manifests high waves. The ocean has no power to move without the superior force of the air. Similarly, there is another force superior to the air, and another, until ultimately we arrive at Krishna. This is real research. Krishna controls nature just as an engineer controls a train. Sir, थोड़ा ऊपर.
Just yes.
Yes, sir. The engineer controls the locomotive, which pulls one car, and the car in turn pulls another, which pulls another, and so the whole train is moving. Similarly, with the creation, Krishna gives the first push, and then, by means of successive pushes, the entire cosmic manifestation comes into being and is maintained. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Sir, please.
Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam.
This material nature is working under my direction and is producing all moving and unmoving beings. And in the 14th chapter, Bhagavad Gita 14.4, Krishna
Yeah,
says,
Krishna says, Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradah pita.
all the
Yes.
species of life are made possible by birth in the material nature. O son of Kunti, and I am the seed-giving father. For example, if we sow a banyan seed, a huge tree eventually comes up, and along with it, millions of new seeds. Each of these seeds can, in turn, produce another tree with millions of new seeds, and so on. This is how Krishna, the original seed-giving father, is the primary cause of everything we see. Unfortunately, the scientists observe only the immediate cause. They can't perceive the remote cause. Krishna is described in the Vedas as Sarv Krishna
Sarva
Karana,
karana karanam, the
Sarv
cause of
Karana,
all causes.
the cause of all causes. If one understands the cause of all causes, then he understands everything. Sir, please.
Yasmin vigyate sarvamevam vigyatam bhavanti.
If one knows the original cause, the subordinate causes are automatically known. Although the scientists are searching after the original cause, when the Vedas' perfect knowledge declare the original cause to be the supreme personality of God ahead, the scientists won't accept it. They keep to their partial imperfect knowledge. This is their disease.
Yes. So they don't know who is the ultimate cause, but if we present that how Krishna is the ultimate cause, that they will not accept. So that is the material disease. Okay. So quickly we will answer this. Very simple questions. Can you tell an example for immediate, remote, and ultimate cause? Any example for immediate, remote? Yes.
सर जैसे इसमें लिखा गया था कि समुद्र जो ओशन पैसिफिक ओशन जो काम रहता है खुद से वो मूव भी नहीं कर सकता तो उसके ऊपर एक्सटर्नल फोर्स एक लगता है जिसको एयर बोलते हैं, फिर
Yes.
एयर भी किसी के अंडर में होगा, फिर वो भी किसी के, अगर फाइनली हम ऐसे करते जाएं तो
Yes.
फाइनली हम सुप्रीम लॉर्ड कृष्ण को पाएंगे उसके अंदर। तो जो ओशन का
Yes.
मूवमेंट था दैट इज इमीडिएट कॉज, एंड जो एयर का फ्लो था दैट इज रिमोट, एंड अल्टीमेट कॉज इज द लॉर्ड सुप्रीम लॉर्ड कृष्णा।
Very beautiful. Any other example? Anyone else would like to give any other example in this?
Example of train.
Locomotive train.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, Rahul.
सर
Yes. Yes,
लोकोमोटिव
Rahul.
ट्रेन एक सबसे आगे वाला इंजन उसके पीछे वाला डब्बे
I
को
got it. I
खींचता
got it.
है, और वो उसके पीछे वाला, वो उसके पीछे वाला,
Yes. Yes.
वैसे होके पूरा ट्रेन चलता है।
Yes. Okay. Okay. Next question.
यस सर।
Thank you. Dash energy has no power unless dash energy is involved. What is the answer for this?
Inferior and
Has
superior.
no power unless
Material and
spiritual
Inferior.
energy is involved.
Yes. So inferior energy has no power, yeah, material energy has no power unless superior energy or spiritual energy is involved. Okay. Give an example to show how Krishna is the seed giving father. What is the example given here?
Just like banyan seed tree.
Let us hear from Aditya. Yes, Aditya.
Sir, just like a banyan seed, which is very small, when it's so, then we get a very big banyan tree, and we get millions of seeds by
Yes.
that banyan
Yes.
tree, and it follows success.
Yes. So this is, so the original seed, तो banyan seed से banyan tree आया, उससे बहुत सारे और seeds आए, but original seed कहाँ से आया? That is, Krishna says aham bija pradapita. आपको पता है कि there is a place in the world, I think Malaysia or somewhere, where all the original seeds are being preserved. Original seeds मतलब जैसे कुछ trees extinct हो जाएंगे तो फिर कभी भी उसका फिर से वो पेड़ नहीं पैदा हो सकता है, because the seed has got extinct. अब वो उसका seed ही नहीं है, available नहीं. So there is a place where they are storing all the seeds of different variety of flora and fauna for future, कि कभी भी extinct ना हो जाए, because they know that एक बार अगर गायब हो गया ये तो उसके बाद फिर कभी हम इसको बना नहीं सकते, क्योंकि ओरिजिनल तो भगवान का दिया हुआ है. Okay, what is the unfortunate observation of scientists?
Immediate reaction.
Exactly. Scientists only observe the immediate cause, but they don't consider the ultimate cause. Okay. And what is the disease of atheistic scientists?
Sir, they did not accept the ultimate cause, and neither they present the another ultimate cause. So they did not agree either way.
Yes. So here Prabhupada says, although the scientists are searching after the original cause, when Veda's perfect knowledge declare the original cause to be Supreme Personality of Godhead, the scientists won't accept it. See, I was hearing once by from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. He was saying that a true scientist is one who will do research on all the possible options, isn't it? जैसे आप लोग सबको याद है मैथमेटिक्स में कभी कभी जब हम वो सॉल्व करते थे क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन, तो केस 1, केस 2, केस 3, केस 4 ऐसे करके आता था कि अगर के इसके बीच में है, के इसके बीच में. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू रिमेंबर दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस वेयर टू फाइंड द आंसर यू हैव टू सॉल्व ऑल द केसेस, राइट? ये भी हो सकता है, वो भी हो सकता है. And sometimes when you don't solve one of the cases, then you may not get the perfect answer, complete answer nahi milega, right? Like that. So scientists are studying all the cases, but the position of roots. But the problem with the scientists is they don't study the root. They don't study one of the cases, which is Krishna has created this world, and which is actually the case, which is the true case. And because they don't research on that case, what happens is all that they get answer is a 5 hota hai, 5, no solution. That is what they get, but actually the answer has much more, and that is where if they study that case they will get. Okay, so I'll just ask one last question to all of you and we'll end today's discussion. Many people talk about this thing, that from where did God come into origin? So what will all of you say? Okay, if God has created everything, then who created God? इसका क्या आंसर दोगे आप?
सर गॉड क्रिएटेड टाइम, तो गॉड से पहले कोई टाइम ही नहीं था, तो उनसे पहले का कुछ होना ये पॉसिबल ही नहीं।
Okay, okay, very good answer. Okay,
Sir,
Himanshu.
Krishna is sir सर्व कारण कारणम, sir cause of
Yes,
all causes. So,
yes.
उनके beyond कुछ नहीं है sir.
Okay, he's the cause of all causes by definition. Okay, okay. Ayush is
Sir,
saying,
he is.
yes, Ayush is saying very beautifully. Cause of all causes cannot have a cause. Okay, very beautiful. Yeah, someone else was speaking. Aniket.
The beginning of all beginnings cannot have beginning.
Cannot have a beginning. Okay, very good. I think I had told all of you once in one of initial discussions. See, it is a very simple thing. Actually, बहुत मुश्किल नहीं है समझना. देखो, because Krishna is the origin, he is the cause of all causes. He is the person from whom everything comes. Suppose A आया, like suppose C आया है B से, B आया है A से. अगर A से ही सारे अल्फाबेट स्टार्ट हुए हैं, तो A से पहले कुछ है नहीं. अगर कुछ और उसके पहले होगा, मान लो A भी निकल रहा है किसी और से, then instead of A being the cause of all causes, there will be some other thing which will be cause of all causes, right? It's a very simple thing. So if Krishna is the beginning of all beginnings, and this Brahma is saying that Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He's the Adi Purush. He's the original person. He's the Aham Bija Pradah Pita. He's the original seed giving father. So it's very clear that if Krishna also had an origin, then that origin will become the cause, not Krishna. Another very simple thing is, by definition, God is one from whom everything emanates. जिनसे सब निकला है वो कैसे किसी और चीज से निकल सकते हैं? जैसे अगर ट्रेन का एग्जांपल यहाँ पर दिया हुआ था, सो S5 को S4 खींचता है, S4 को S3 खींचता है, S3 को S2 खींचता है. इफ यू गो लाइक दैट अहेड, व्हाट यू गेट इन द फ्रंट, सबसे पहला क्या रहेगा जो सबको खींच रहा है?
S
इंजन विल बी देयर, राइट? इंजन. अगर कोई पूछे कि इंजन के आगे कौन सा बोगी है, नहीं भाई, इंजन उसी को बोलते हैं जो सबसे आगे रहता है, राइट? इंजन के आगे अगर कोई और बोगी है, then that bogie will become engine. Why will we call this as engine? So engine means the first, जो सबसे आगे रहेगा. So similarly, so this question is actually a foolish question to ask that engine के आगे क्या है? Just like that, God को किसने बनाया है? Like that. And as I think Vedanta, someone was saying that time frame के बाहर है भगवान. So creation God के लिए applicable नहीं होता. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Ronak, go ahead.
Sir, is it so that all the souls also would have come into existence very like when God came firstly? Can we say like that?
Very correct. See, according to Bhagavad Gita, if you would have read in Gita that how natvevaham jatu nasham natvam neme janadipa. So how living entities or spirit souls, they are also eternal. They are eternal. They are shashwat. They are never destroyed or created. So in that sense, you can say that living entities are also living eternally. But you also have to understand that that living entities are also coming from Krishna. But because it is not in the time frame, because it is in the platform of eternity, so we cannot say that they came into existence at this point of time, right? You cannot say that it has come into existence at this point of time. जैसे अगर आप डिजिटल सर्किट्स पढ़ोगे तो एक होते हैं कॉम्बिनेशनल सर्किट्स, एक होते हैं सीक्वेंशियल सर्किट्स. तो सीक्वेंशियल सर्किट्स क्लॉक के साथ काम करते हैं. कॉम्बिनेशनल सर्किट्स में क्लॉक नहीं रहता है, तो मतलब इनपुट लगाए हो आउटपुट रहेगा, समथिंग लाइक दैट. सो बेसिकली व्हाट आई मीन टू से इज your soul is also eternal. So if you want to put a date to the soul कि भाई soul कब existence में आया, you cannot put that because It is also eternally existing, just like God is eternally existing. And the nature of the soul is eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. Now, what is eternity? The concept of eternity for an embodied person who is in time frame. हम अभी time frame में हैं, तो eternity क्या है समझना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है, right? But एक simple सा example मैं आपको दे सकता हूँ eternity क्या है समझने के लिए. Very simple. टाइम फ्रेम में रहने का मतलब होता है हर चीज का एक शुरुआत होता है और हर चीज का एक अंत होता है. एवरीथिंग स्टार्ट्स डिटोरिएटिंग. जैसे एक एप्पल है, अगर एक एप्पल को मैं बाहर रखा हूं, ओके, बाहर रखा हूं, तो क्या होगा, 10 दिन 15 दिन में वो एप्पल पूरा सड़ जाएगा. ना अगर वो इटर्नल जोन में है तो वो एप्पल कभी खराब ही नहीं होगा. क्यों? क्योंकि उस पर टाइम का इफेक्ट नहीं है. टाइम इन दिस वर्ल्ड डिटोरिएट्स एवरीथिंग, बट एज बढ़ता है हमारा, ओल्ड होते हैं, डिजीज्ड होते हैं, डेथ आता है, ये सब टाइम के चलते हो रहा है. But spiritual world, there is no time, there is no consequence of time, and that is why eternal existence is there in that place. But eternal existence doesn't mean that soul doesn't have a origin, because soul is originating from God. We are all part and parcels of God. Eternal existence only implies for soul that it doesn't have a beginning time frame. ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते हैं कि t equal to 0 यहाँ begin हुआ. Okay. So yeah, so what is the fun of being God if you cannot, if you as a tiny living entity can understand everything about God? So the scriptures are saying that Brahma, Shiva, they cannot comprehend God completely. How can we comprehend God completely? But it is not very difficult to understand that God is not a created being. God is a person. जैसे God is a person who is eternally existing, and who is the creator of everything else. From him comes all the energies. That's all. That's very simple. Okay. Who asked this question? Someone had asked about this soul being created, this thing.
Sir, Ronak.
Yeah, Ron. Is it clear, Ron?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Prakhar is asking a question. If God is benevolent and he sees an asteroid moving towards Earth, why doesn't he change its path? Is it because asteroid was there in the first place because of God and he's trying to wipe us off? Then he really, क्या है? Sorry. See, स्पिरिचुअल में वर्ल्ड में भी लोग की मैरिज होती है क्या? क्योंकि आपने एक सेशन में कहा था कि अर्जुना रिजेक्टेड प्रपोजल ऑफ उर्वशी. Okay, Arjuna rejected proposal of Urvashi in heavens, not in spiritual world. Heaven is a place in this universe itself. Spiritual world is a place where eternal existence is there. तो heaven can be considered like, अगर आपको किसी फिल्म स्टार के घर जाने मिल गया तो आपको लगेगा बाप रे क्या स्पेशल घर है ये, लेकिन वो भी एक घर ही है, वहां पर भी लोग ही रहते हैं, हो सकता है ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल लाइफ जीते हैं. So heaven is a more comfortable place for a longer duration. Hell is a place which is more miserable, and earth is a place jahan kabhi khushi kabhi gum, something like that. Okay, so yeah, spiritual world also there are people who scriptures are talking about. spiritual world में भी लोग हैं जो husband और wife हैं, ऐसा नहीं कि वहां पर लोग husband और wife नहीं है. But what doesn't exist in spiritual world is called lust. लस्ट नहीं एग्जिस्ट करता है क्योंकि हर कोई वहां सेवा करना चाहता है, हर कोई वहां भगवान को प्लीज करना चाहता है. कृष्णा इज देयर इन द सेंटर. Okay, but Arjuna to spiritual world gaya hoga na, as he's, so Arjuna went back to spiritual world after he left his body. Till that time he was in material world serving Krishna by fighting the war. Yes sir, किंतु कैसे यज्ञ से द्रौपदी और द्रुपद पूरे विकसित हो के जन्म हुआ? Okay, so today modern science has only few ways of how birth can happen, right? But according to scriptures, there are there are many ways in which a birth can happen, or some of the ways we can also see, like अंडा से भी जन्म होता है, स्वेट से भी जन्म होता है माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स का. जैसे आप देखोगे कभी कभी कुछ प्लेस है जो बहुत ज्यादा गंदा है या बहुत ज्यादा स्वेट है वहां पर, कुछ बहुत पुराने क्लोथ्स रखे हैं उसमें से भी जन्म ले लेते हैं, राइस के बैग में कुछ माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स जन्म लेते हैं. So life can come out anytime when there is a favorable body for the soul to actually go and live there. So that is how life comes out. Because soul is present everywhere in the universe. जहां पर उसको एक favorable atmosphere मिलेगा वहां पर वो जन्म ले सकता है. There it can occupy that body and life symptom can be seen. How Draupadi and this Drishtadyumna, they all came out from Yagya. See, sometimes for us it may be difficult to understand everything what is there in scriptures. जैसे अगर मैं आपको एक सिंपल सा एग्जांपल दूं कि आज के अगर आप 100 साल पहले व्यक्ति को बोलोगे कि देखो यहाँ पर ये एक मोबाइल है और इस मोबाइल में मैं एक बटन दबाऊंगा और यूएस में मेरी जो सिस्टर है उनसे मैं बात कर सकता हूँ, मैं उनको यहाँ देख सकता हूँ इसमें. What will you call it? If you were a person of 1800s, would you ever believe that something like this can happen? क्या आप बिलीव कर सकते हो कि सही में तुम वीडियो देख सकते हो, वीडियो वहां यूएस में जो बैठा है उसका वीडियो यहाँ देख सकते हो और उससे बात कर सकते हो रियल टाइम में? You would never believe, right? But so that time आप बोलोगे अगर आपको दिखा भी देते, मैं अगर मान लो हम टाइम में पीछे जाके I showed you something like this, you would call it magic, you would call it mystic. So actually अगला जो डिस्कशन है अचिंत्य शक्ति का, there it will come that mystic potency या mystic power या magic is when you don't know the science behind it. Do you know that there are yogis who can actually walk on water, who can actually levitate their body? वो हल्का होके बॉडी को ऊपर ला सकते हैं. If you go to places like Kumbh Mela and these places, you will see some yogis who have these abilities, because these are yogic powers and person can do it. Just like we have got technological powers, through technology we can have, जैसे एयरपोर्ट में मैं था तो सब सेंसर ऑपरेटेड, हर चीज सेंसर ऑपरेटेड है. आपका पानी हाथ डालते हो पानी आता है, जाते हो तो गेट खुलता है, लिफ्ट ओपन होता है, right? Everything is becoming sensor operated. So because you know the technology behind it, you don't call it khulja simsim, ya you don't call it magic. So similarly, when we know the spiritual science or the science of sacrifice or yagya, then we will be able to understand कि वो science कैसे काम कर रहा है. So for anyone in any field, if he doesn't know that science, it's a miracle for him. It's a miracle कि कैसे चल रहा है भाई. So like that. Okay. So because these practices are not being done in current time, so we cannot understand it fully. But in Vedic times, these were very common because of the Brahmanical potency of the Brahmanas by their Shakti, by Mantra Shakti, it was possible. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Prince. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for your very patient hearing. And the last section of Achintya Shakti, I would request all of you to solve at your leisure. उसको आप solve कर लेना, हम लोग कभी और उसको solve करेंगे. Okay. Hare Krishna. Akshat. Hare Krishna. Sridharan.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
सर कल भी
Yes.
कुछ होगा, कल भी सर कुछ होगा सेशन वगैरह?
Okay, I'll check with Apurva and others, and I think all of your exams are also coming up, so I
Yes.
really request each one of you to study very nicely. बहुत अच्छा से पढ़ाई करो और पूरा focused होके एग्जाम में बहुत अच्छा मार्क्स लेके आना है सबको. Okay, so from March 8th to
Yes.
17th your exams are there, Sridharan is saying. So really want to wish all of you all the best for your preparation and for your exams. So
Thank you, sir.
you have to fight the war of exams very nicely. End semesters है अच्छा से करना है. Okay. Anytime you want me to talk to any one of you, you can happily text me or call Apurv and tell. I can help you if you want any guidance. We'll be there for you. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir.
Hare
Bye.
Krishna, sir ji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Ayush. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.